stop. Probably you're using C++ wrong. Well, maybe not wrong, but not at its full potential. We covered great tools so far, but today is about learning the big mama tools. If you are still writing your own arrays, manual loops, and search functions in C++, you're wasting time you could be using to build your game or other programs or watching a movie in the theater. The Standard Template Library, or STL, is the tool that lets you stop fighting the language and start focusing on gameplay. It gives you vectors, lists, maps, sets, and a whole set of algorithms that professionals use every day in real projects, including on real C++ code bases. In this lesson, you will learn everything about vectors, the first container you need to dominate in coding. And through this and the next lessons, you will learn how these containers and algorithms can make your code cleaner, safer, and faster to write. So you can move from I am learning C++ to I am building a real systems for my games. This is the Game Creator Accelerator, and I am Tony Munoz. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and ring the bell so you can continue this C++ full free course here and get more on real tutorials and inspiring strategies to build your path as a game developer. Don't forget to visit woolon.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship Program, how it is helping career transitioners move consistently into the video game development, and to schedule a time to chat with me. It will be a transformative conversation, and the link is in the description. Now let's begin. Let's start by defining what is STL, Standard Template Libraries. The STL is a collection of ready-made data structures and generic functions. It has three main parts: containers, iterators, and algorithm. Together, they let you store data, walk through it, and process it without writing everything from scratch. You should not be building your own dynamic arrays or custom sort functions every time you start a new project. STL gives you optimized professional battle-tested tools you can rely on immediately. Now let's talk about the first one, vectors. We will now begin with the first container. A vector is a dynamic array. It grows and shrinks at runtime, and its elements live in contiguous memory. That makes it extremely fast for random access and one of the most common containers in game development. Keep in mind that random access simply means that you can jump directly to any elements in the container using its index, and it's instantly. I sometimes refer indifferently vectors and arrays, although vectors are a specific type of array. But bear with me because all will make sense in the next minutes. Let's create a simple example of an array, starting with standard, vector, integer, and let's name it scores. And because we want to use vectors, we need to add that library, to include that library. So include vector. No errors now. What we are creating with the scores, this is basically a resizable array of integers. The type is here. The good thing is that you don't have to say in advance how many elements it will have. It starts empty and you can add element one by one. How do we add it? Pretty simple. We take these scores, and you can see here we have a push back and a suggestion. At this moment I'm going to tap to take the suggestion. But let me change the number to 100. That is the way to add a new value to scores. This is another example to add a new value. But in this case, let's say I will pick 250. Every time you call the pushback, you're pushing a new element to the back of the list, and the vector grows automatically for you. Now, let's say that you want to access those elements. First, keep in mind that the first element of an array is the one in the position 0. So if I want to present the first element of the array, I will use the cout. Let me use the score. Oh, this is a great suggestion, so I'm going to take it. And you can see that he's giving me the first score, which is in the position 0. And if I want to take the second score, let's take it. Here's the suggestion. And this is the score for the second element of the array. Let's test this. And here we have the hello world, score 1, 100, score 2, 250. Excellent. Let's talk about other commands that are very important for you to work with arrays. The first one I want to mention is the size of the array. That's something that we use a lot in Unreal in particular, and well, honestly, in many other applications of the arrays. In this case, I want to create size of a scores vector. Look at it. We having a great suggestion at this point. And what it does is this command takes the array and tells me how big this array is. Let's test it. Here you have size of scores is 2. Excellent. The next command will allow me to remove one element of the array. In this case, I will remove only the last element. To do it, I use a command called scores popback. This will remove the last element of your array. Now let's try to make the same size of a score to check what is the difference after the popback. Test it. And here we have it. First, we have 2 elements, then we pop back, we remove the last element, and now we have 1. Another important command that we use to take actions over an array is to confirm if the array is empty or not. To do it, let me present it with a standard cout. And let's ask, is the array empty? And here we have it. I'm asking if the array is empty by using the command empty applied to the array, in this case, our score. And by adding this interrogation symbol, if this value is true, it will say yes. And if this value is false, we'll receive a no. And the two options are separated by a colon. At this moment, our array is not empty. So let's test it. 100, 100, 2 values, then we pop 1, and is the array empty? No. Let's add a couple of elements again, because I want to do some other experiments. 3 and let's say 450. Now let's say that I want to recover one specific element of the array. Let's say that the element is the one on the 3rd position. In that case, we use cout element in index, let's say 1. That's a great way to present it, but I don't want the 1, I want the number 3. So what is the element on the position 3? And the way of presenting that is using the scores, the array, at, and then the position. Another way also can be, instead of using this, we use brackets for the position. Let me add here with brackets. And now let's test it. Oh, we receive an error. I know why is this error. The error is because this is out of range. Because in the process we added 4 elements and we removed the last one, which means that now we have 3 elements. But the last element of an array is not the size of the array, but the size of the array minus 1. So instead of using a 3, because 3 will be 0, 1, 2, 3 will be this 450, and we remove that element, remember that we use the pop back, then the max element I can have is the one in the position 2. So let's take the one in the position 2 and try to run it again. Let me close this, local Windows debugger, and here we have it. The last element, or the element in the position 3 of this array is the 350. Excellent. Before we continue, let me share something important with you. This channel is part of a bigger journey called the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship. The goal is simple: real measurable transformation into a game developer with the proof, strategies, and community to build a long-term career. You and I work together to build your first playable Unreal prototype, understand the core principles you will use in every project, and set up your social platforms so studios, publishers, headhunters, and players can actually discover your work. Then we'll lock in routines and strategies that keep you consistent even after your day job. This is the same approach that successful indie creators use, myself included, because today, learning in isolation and sending applications is not enough. You grow by creating, sharing, and letting opportunities come to you. And inside the GCA, we follow a clear methodology to make that happen, with my direct support and one-on-one sessions plus lifetime access. If you want to know more, check the link in the description, visit william.com and book a call with me. There is another command to insert an element in the middle of the array, and it's this one, scores.insert. And here you can see the syntax. Let's explain it with an example and defining where I want this element to be inserted and what value do I want to insert. Using the command scores_begin, I can set myself at the beginning of the array and then adding 2. The beginning of the array is in 0. By adding 2, I'm in the position 2, and now I'm adding the value of 300. So after adding the value, let's check if that element is in fact 300. How we're going to do it? Well, let me check the element and index 3. Why index 3? Because the first element, remember, is the 0. So if you added this value in the position 2, it is in fact the third element of the array. This is why the scores is 2. Test. And here we have it. The value that we inserted in the position 3 is 300. If you want to remove an element on a particular position in the middle, you can also use something similar. Scores, erase, and let's autocomplete this one. In this example, you define what is the element or the position of the element that you wish to remove. In this case, we're removing the element in the position 1. And as you can imagine, it will be the element of this position, 250. To prove it, first, let's present the element before the erase. And we can present the element because we know the command, which is scores in position 1. And let's complete it with the standard and line. And then let's do something similar, but to watch where is the element in the same position after the erase. Here we go. Scores vector erase of the element in position 1 is the 250. And after we erase this element, now the element in the position 1 will be the 300. Why the 300? Because remember that we inserted this 300 and it was in the position 2. So it will be 0, 1, 2 before the 350. And when we remove the 250, then the 300 moves to this position. Pretty clear. Now let's say that you want to remove all the elements on the array. In that case, then we use the command scores clear and removes all the elements of the array. In fact, we can check now again the size of the array. And if we run it, once we do the clear, you can see the size of a scores vector after clear is 0. So the key takeaway from today is this. Vectors are a fundamental building block in modern C++, and mastering them puts you in a much stronger position as you continue learning the standard template library. In the next video, we'll continue this journey and explore lists so you can clearly understand how different containers behave and how to choose the right one for the real game development scenarios. Help me support this channel by liking the video, subscribing, leaving a comment, ringing the bell so you never miss the next tutorials on C++, all designed to help you build a successful career in video games. Remember to visit william.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship Program. Discover what the program is about, how it's transforming other professionals who are in transition into the gaming industry, and then set a time to chat with me. It will be a transformational conversation. The link is in the description. And as always, until next time, keep creating, keep sharing, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. I'll see you soon, my fellow creators.